Welcome and welcome to the channel. And today I have a very special guest. I've got Tywon Hubbard here from H2 HUBB, and we're going to be talking about molecular hydrogen. I've been getting into molecular hydrogen big time in the past year, and I wanted to bring in someone who is an expert. So, what got you excited about molecular hydrogen? How did you literally fumble into it?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you said fumble into it uh, because one, I played football for about 20 years of my life. I was doing that before I actually got interested in molecular hydrogen, and I played running back, so you can fumble the ball. But also, but also, it was kind of like it fumbled into my life. So, like I already alluded to, I did not go to school for this. This wasn't like part of my vision for my future when I was younger. I aspired to be in the NFL, and I was very close to attaining my dreams of that. And it was on that journey that hydrogen kind of invaded my story. And so it all kind of came about through my wife's cousin. He came up one day talking to me about alkaline ionized water. And I was like, alkaline ionized water? I don't know anything about this. And he was raving about all the benefits and all the health effects you can get from it. And that led to basically me trying a couple gallons of it for my training when I was using it for my training. And I'm a pretty skeptical guy by nature anyway. So I tried some and I thought I felt some benefits in my recovery, but I really didn't pay a bunch of mind. I kind of let it go. That led to me 6 months later having an opportunity again for this to fumble in. And this time I said, I'm gonna crack the code. I'm gonna go ahead and figure this thing out. Because I did drink some of the water again. I thought I felt some of the effects. And so I started to look online, trying to figure these things out. I really couldn't find an answer that would suffice for me, right? Like everything was basically blog articles or marketing hype or companies selling products and things like that. And so I was really stumped. And so I prayed about it. I'm a Christian, prayed about it. And I kid you not, 2 weeks later, I saw a gentleman online talking about the chemistry of these systems that produce alkaline ionized water. And so I contacted him personally and said, hey, what's going on with these devices? And he said, yeah, man, this is basic high school chemistry. This is water electrolysis, where you're running electricity through water, you're decomposing water into its natural elements, hydrogen and oxygen. And the hydrogen gas is going to be in the alkaline stream of water, and the oxygen is going to be in the acidic stream. And so I started asking more questions. And then before I knew it, he kind of put me in the direction of molecular hydrogen. He said, everybody's talking about the alkaline pH, but it's really the hydrogen gas that is the therapeutic agent. And so I started researching molecular hydrogen, whatever disease model I wanted, and I plugged it into PubMed.
Mhm.
And I started pulling up articles. And before I knew it, like I read a lot of medical articles. And this is like, I wasn't skilled at reading medical articles at that time. So I would read like 2 or 3 words and then didn't know what that word meant, and then Google that word. And I would just continue to do that process until I just was kind of, obsessive, got stuck in the rabbit hole. And I read a ton of medical articles from molecular hydrogen across many different disease models. And I was convinced that molecular hydrogen was a diamond in the rough. Nobody was talking.
Mhm.
So I started talking about it with everybody, teammates, agents, coaches. I'm telling everybody, look, man, I know y'all doing this, but like y'all need to be, drinking hydrogen rich water.
Yeah.
And so this was over 10 years ago, and I haven't stopped that route. Now there's more to the story about how did I get into this and not the NFL and all this kind of stuff. But basically, in a nutshell, hydrogen took over my world at that point, and I've been trying to help people with it ever since.
Hydrogen took over your life. I mean, for people that don't understand what hydrogen is the smallest molecule. It's called the source molecule, also known as the God molecule. It's where all of life originates from. We are 62% hydrogen. So that's why hydrogen is really, really important. And because we're also mostly water,
Yep.
having hydrogen-rich molecular water makes a huge difference, and I've seen this because I have a colleague who does live blood analysis, and I drink from a hydrogen water bottle. And so I wanted to test it to see, like, hey, does this thing even work, or is it just hype? And so we did a live blood analysis of my blood before I had anything, before I had the hydrogen water, and then we did the live blood analysis right after. And actually what we did was we did two different tests. We did my blood before anything. We did my blood just with regular spring filtered water. And then we did my blood analysis with molecular hydrogen water. And when we did that final analysis, she looked at my blood and she was like, "What is this?" They said, "That's what hydration looks like at the cell level." What we were seeing was, on the first one, the blood cells were pretty bound together because I was dehydrated first thing in the morning. And then, of course, there was a little bit of separation, but still a lot of congestion with with the blood cells. They were still like really stuck together. And then in the final one, the red blood cells had separated, and it was really really cool to see under the microscope. So, like you, I'm not studying hydrogen to the degree that you are, but I kind of also fumbled into it. I was invited by a holistic cancer treatment center in Mexico to sit in on a talk, and they basically went through every single system in the body and looked at and shared their study of what they've seen molecular hydrogen do within the body. Now, they didn't just talk about water, they talked about inhaling hydrogen, they talked about hydrogen capsules, but it really, I think with hydrogen, it also comes down to like, what is the easiest, most efficient way for most people? And I would say probably water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would equally agree. And that is what you see in the studies too. The most common administration methods for hydrogen therapy is hydrogen water and hydrogen technology.
Yeah.
You can breathe it, right?
Well, I mean, we're supposed to be drinking water anyway, so you may as well make it like even more therapeutic. So,
Right.
for the people who don't know, what are the benefits of, because you basically you read all those PubMed studies, which anyone can go on PubMed. There's about 2,000 studies roughly. So if you were looking for a way to fall asleep at night,
Oh, hey, yes. Yeah, that would blow man.
go to PubMed, start reading those articles. But basically you read all those articles, and what you do on your H2 Minutes platform on YouTube is you do a lot of education on hydrogen. So for people who don't know, what are the benefits of molecular hydrogen?
Yeah, so I think I'm answering this question in like key parts. And so the first part, I'm just going to give you a list of benefits. So, and then after that, I'm going to get into kind of the mechanisms or probably what is going on in the body. And I'll just do like a kind of like a broad overstroke, kind of like the big benefits of hydrogen within the body, kind of on the cellular level. And so I think this list is pretty cool because I actually compiled this list, and this is a short list, by the way. It's only 50. This is only 50 benefits, and this can be long. And so, yeah, so basically, I'm just going to read it for you. I'm going to go ahead and go down quickly and read it for you. So,
You didn't memorize the list?
oh, no, 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 not this list. Uh, so, hydrogen accelerates wound healing, activates and regulates stem cells, acts as an exercise mimetic, meaning that it can kind of have the same benefits as exercise without exercise. Anti-aging effects, anti-arthritic effects, anti-cancer effects, anti-diabetic effects, anti-heart disease effects, anti-obesity effects, anti-inflammatory effects, antioxidant effects, decreases lactic acid or lactate production, decreases muscle fatigue, enhances the blood-brain barrier function, enhances and regulates fluid homeostasis, and mitigates dehydration stress. So when you're dehydrated, your body's under stress, hydrogen can actually mitigate that stress from dehydration, improve aerobic capacity or lung function, improve autoimmune diseases, improve blood flow or circulation, improves blood pressure, improves cognitive function, improves dialysis, improves erectile dysfunction, improves fertility, improves gut dysbiosis, improves or regulates gut flora composition. And this is improved long and short distance running performance, improves metabolism and cellular metabolism, improves muscle endurance, improves muscle function, improves improves recovery after strokes, improves the redox status of the cell. So our anti-inflammatory, our antioxidant and our free radical kind of ratios within the cell. It can improve that. It improves sleep, non-REM sleep, and REM sleep, and sleep latency. So how fast we fall asleep. Improves eye disorders, improves psoriasis or skin disorders, increases ATP production or energy production within the body, can increase our own body's antioxidants, increases metabolism, mitigates hearing loss, neuroprotective, prevents hangovers, protects the body from sepsis, protects DNA and RNA, a protective agent to prevent diseases. So it can act as just a protective agent throughout the entire body. Can promote mitochondrial biogenesis, basically the production of more mitochondria within the cell. Radioprotective, reduces cholesterol, reduces edema, reduces kidney stone occurrences, reduces pain, acute and chronic, can regulate the endocrine system or hormones such as ghrelin, leptin, adiponectin, fibroblasts, estrogen, testosterone, cortisol, insulin, prolactin, progesterone, and oxytocin, and more, and can regulate neurotransmitters such as glutamate, GABA, dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine, and it just overall supports the body. So that's just a list of 50 benefits that all have scientific evidence to support that hydrogen has the potential to induce these therapeutic effects. That's pretty remarkable in and of itself to know that one molecule can have such a broad range of therapeutic effects in your body. And this is primarily due to the fact that the therapeutic agent that hydrogen actually is. So hydrogen is classified as a gaseous signal modulator or a gaseous gene modulator. So that's just a big fancy way of saying that hydrogen basically acts as kind of like a communicating a molecule that transmits signals to cells, altering how like they function. So specific biological effects within those cells through altering gene expression. So it can have a multiplicity of actual therapeutic effects, so much so that scientists are actually saying that it has pleiotropic effects. That basically is just a term just that says it regulates a vast amount of genes within cells. And so because of this, it can, it can reduce oxidative stress, it can have regulatory effects on inflammation, it can improve bioenergetics, or basically how we produce energy, to regulate autophagy, basically like the recycling processes of our cells, to produce, it can actually have like effects on like our lipid profile, like cholesterol, HDL, LDL, these kind of things like that. Hydrogen can have a broad range of therapeutic effects across many different systems. And so far, they've even said it has therapeutic effects in virtually every organ in the human body. So basically, hydrogen seems quite amazing. And I'm not saying that it is like a panacea, but it's the closest thing I've seen in the literature to one, in the sense that hydrogen is able to regulate so many different processes in the cell. So many processes in the body. And the two primary things that if you can tackle these two on a cellular level, basically you can benefit the entire body. And that is reduction of oxidative stress. That is regulating inflammation or reducing excessive inflammation, chronic inflammation. These two are kind of like the precursors to all disease. So if you can effectively handle these two, then you can effectively handle many different issues in the human body. So hydrogen seems to be quite remarkable. We have more research on these two areas for hydrogen than we have anything else. Hydrogen seems remarkable at reducing oxidative stress and inflammation. So hydrogen can do this in many different ways. So for those who don't know what oxidative stress is basically when the free radical or damaging molecules within cells get too high, you don't have enough antioxidants to combat it. And now basically the cell is going to be under oxidative arrest or oxidative stress. And so this is a damaging process that leads to the degrade of the cell and other cellular systems. And if not handled, it can also lead to cellular death. And so hydrogen seems to be doing this in very unique ways to address oxidative stress that's different than just a typical antioxidant. Conventional antioxidant would just donate their electrons, unless they do with something like vitamin C, which is really beneficial for us. But they'll donate as electrons and neutralize free radicals by giving those electrons to those free radicals, and basically kind of protect the body by that donation or free radical scavenging team is called within scientific studies. And that is good, but hydrogen doesn't seem to be doing that hydrogen seems to be functioning differently as an antioxidant. And so hydrogen seems to actually not just be donating or scavenging free radicals, but it actually seems to be regulating the entire antioxidant system within the cell. Or the redox is like basically what I said earlier, the redox status, the free radical and antioxidant ratio within the cell. And so they've actually seen the hydrogen can act as a selective antioxidant, meaning that it actually only targets the cellular damaging, most cytotoxic free radicals in the entire body, the hydroxyl radical and peroxynitrate. These serve us no benefit. They just a bunch of bad guys that cause all kind of disease. Hydrogen can reduce these free radicals within cells, but it does not reduce beneficial free radicals that are necessary and needed for cellular health. And so they've seen hydrogen can do this in several different ways. One, hydrogen actually might be preventing excessive free radical production of these two free radicals in the first place. So there's different processes for producing these free radicals. One is called the Hubbard-Weiss reaction and Fincher reaction. Both of these reactions are necessary for producing hydroxyl radicals. However, hydrogen can suppress these reactions within cells, reducing the overall production of these free radicals in the first place. And then hydrogen there's one mechanism where they do say that hydrogen may be able to directly scavenge these free radicals by basically reacting with it. And if it does react with the hydroxyl radical, it converts it into water, a life-giving solvent water. So it takes the most damaging thing and converts it into the life-giving solvent water, the thing we need the most. And so it's pretty remarkable when you think about that. And then lastly, hydrogen is able to do this also by regulating what's called the NRF2 pathway. NRF2 pathway is like the master regulator of our antioxidant system within our cells. Hydrogen can actually activate this and increase over 250 cytoprotective molecules within the cell. And so these free radicals, these antioxidants that it can regulate, such as glutathione, superoxide dismutase, camelase, hemo-1 oxidase, these are different, very powerful antioxidants and cytoprotective molecules, can go on and also reduce oxidative stress. And so hydrogen seems to be able to do this in many different ways. And so therefore it is regulating oxidative stress and reducing it and regulating the antioxidant system of our cells. And then they've also seen that hydrogen can do this on the other side with inflammation. So oxidative stress is actually what's called a mediator to inflammation. So if there's oxidative stress, you're likely going to be having inflammation. And so hydrogen not only can have all these kind of regulatory processes for oxidative stress and for antioxidants, but it can do it for inflammation by downregulating what's called pro-inflammatory cytokines. These are these communicating inflammatory molecules that basically cause an inflammatory response and propagate or further or continue inflammation. And so hydrogen can downregulate these pro-inflammatory mediators, such as tumor necrosis factor alpha, NF-kappa B, interleukin 6, interleukin 8. These are all these proteins that cause inflammation. They can downregulate these, but then they see they can upregulate what's it called? Sorry, let me think here. Let me check. Pro-inflammatory cytokines and anti-inflammatory cytokines. And it can basically upregulate these molecules to reduce inflammation. Interleukin 22, interleukin 37, what is it? Interleukin, I think 10. So there's different molecules that basically hydrogen can upregulate to decrease inflammation. And so this is not just locally. They've seen hydrogen can do this systemically in gut, the liver, fat tissue, like all kind of things. So because of these two things, oxidative stress and inflammation, because hydrogen can regulate these two things, it seems to have a broad scope of beneficial effects for our bodies.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that is really remarkable is that it has its own intelligence. And and I've worked with different clients and have put them on molecular hydrogen, and I've had clients who have a specific autoimmune condition report certain results, and I've had someone who has gut issues report different results, someone who has cancer report different results, and it's quite remarkable. And even for myself, what I've seen in my own body, because I've been now using molecular hydrogen water for a year. The other thing that is really, really great about it is that it is, if you're actually utilizing a hydrogen water vessel that is properly tested and is actually legitimately making molecular hydrogen water, because I think we spoke on another call and it's like, it's a little bit of the wild, wild west out there. There's a lot of people that are claiming that they've got a hydrogen water bottle for sale and that they swear it makes hydrogen water, and that's not the case. So you do have to be very careful of the technology and make sure that it's legitimate. So if you're getting a $10 molecular hydrogen water off Amazon, it's not making molecular hydrogen.
Yeah.
But if you're getting a properly tested bottle, it's making molecular hydrogen, and the great thing about it is it's completely non-toxic. So there's no negative side effects. It's not going to hurt your body in any way. There's no downside. I would love for, because you do testing, so I would love for you to speak on the testing side, how important it is to have something that's been properly tested.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I think it's critical. So I think things that have to take place is first, you have to be able to know what molecular hydrogen is and its benefits and what is being used in the studies to get, right? So what kind of doses are they using that they are deriving to benefits from? Once you know that, now you can take that knowledge and now you can apply it to the marketplace. And so, for instance, if you are going to drink hydrated water, and you're going to buy it from, let's say, like a company, you want to buy a product, buy from a product, I mean, and you go to their website and they're selling, let's say, a hydrogen water bottle, but they don't list the concentration, H2 concentration, right? They show all the wonderful fancy and all the fancy benefits of hydrogen, but you don't know how much hydrogen gas is being dissolved into the water because they're not even telling. Avoid that product, right? And you don't even have to know if the product is tested by, let's say, me or another, let's say, authority in the industry, yet to even say, okay, this might be a red flag. And so having a prior knowledge of what is like, of what is actually going to induce therapeutic effects based on a study, what is, or like what is called the suggested dose, will serve you greatly. Now, I would also say that it is very critical to ensure that you are looking at products that have third-party validation. And so that's what my company does, is that we get products. I don't know if you see all these. I got a lot of products in. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the
You
products.
got a collection there.
Oh yes, we have a lot of products. I have shelves up here. I have too many products to know what I even do with. But we've been testing hydrogen products now for over 8 years, and so we've actually examined more than 100 products on the market. And just to give you kind of a scope or understanding of that 100 products we tested, we are only currently recommending about 40.
Wow.
Because those other ones have gone through the testing. And we have performance standards that products need to hit. They don't hit these certain criteria of performance that is connected, but that this performance is connected to clinical human research. If they don't hit these metrics for this performance, we will not recommend the product to the public. And so there's been quite a few products that haven't made this. And that's just because these products, most of them do not supply the necessary hydrogen dosing that is needed, that's seen within the studies. That is whether that's hydrogen water products or hydrogen inhalation. We've actually seen hydrogen inhalation products that claim to reduce, let's say, 600 milliliters per minute of hydrogen gas per minute. That's 600 milliliters per minute of hydrogen gas is going to give you some beneficial effect. And it's produced, and nobody can even know how to test for that, right? Like, how do I test the gas flow rate of a system and know I'm actually getting what I'm paying? And so this is why it's really important to ensure that you're using resources like my company, H2 HUBB. And that's our primary service to the industry, is our third-party testing, approval, and recommendation of hydrogen products. And so we get these products sent to us from all around the world. Just recently had a product sent to us from Japan. that's undergone our testing and our evaluation. And if they pass, they receive a official H2 test report. And then that product will be put on our website for individuals like you and others to be able to find products that are actually providing therapeutic benefits that are safe to use and that basically have some form of reliability.
Mhm. Well, that's good. That's good. So people can go to your website, they can go to your YouTube, they can become more educated. And I actually really do think that it is important for people to have this knowledge and education. Start to understand you don't necessarily have to read all of the articles and the medical literature, but it is good to have some kind of a basic understanding of how hydrogen works, what kind of product you want to be looking for, and making sure that it's third party tested and validated. And the product that I use has been third party tested and validated. And I mean, I've gone a step further and gone in and had it tested myself. Like I wanted to actually look at what it looks like under the microscope because I don't want to recommend something that doesn't work. So, as we close off, I would love to know, like, of all the benefits that you know that molecular hydrogen has, what is your favorite benefit?
What's my favorite benefit?
I
Probably.
mean, there's so many benefits.
You can say out of all of them, I would say probably my favorite would be its immunological effects. The reason I say that is because I grew up with terrible seasonal allergies. And so basically I'll say it this way, because I grew up with seasonal allergies and I was also an athlete, there was not a whole lot of areas that in my life that I didn't have good health, let's say. And so this was the one area that always bugged me, right? My eyes would be all crusted over, in springtime, and maybe in the fall, I'll get some of that as well. And when I started drinking hydrogen water, it was amazing. I felt like it's still today, it's funny, still today, it basically reduced my seasonal allergies to non-existent.
Wow.
So to me, it was like, what did it do? And right, like, how did this work? I drank this particular water that had this gas in it. I started to notice the benefits, and then all of a sudden, my season, I can breathe. I have like my eyes are not whatever. So it's like, what happened? And so I would say its immunological effects are pretty remarkable at regulating the immune system. I mean, just for instance, for example, let's say for example, mast cells. So mast cells are a type of white blood cell in your body that kind of act as like our alarm system. And they are basically crucial for allergic reactions, right? And they release a bunch of different pro-inflammatory mediators of cytokines, and one of them being histamine that gives us all these terrible effects as far as runny nose, itchy eyes, all this stuff. Well, they've actually seen in the research that hydrogen specifically can regulate mast cells. And it does this in very unique ways. Well, one of the things is that because it reduces oxidative stress, mast cells are less prone to be activated and what's called degranulate, or basically release their pro-inflammatory molecules. But it goes farther than that. They actually say that hydrogen can diffuse into mast cells and lower what's called reactive oxygen species of free radical productions in them specifically to lead to less degranulation. And then it's more than that. They seen that hydrogen can actually regulate a specific pathway in mast cells that are critical for them to degranulate, called like FC epsilon, I think R1, signal transduction. This particular pathway is critical for them for their degranulation process. And so to release histamine, and so they've seen hydrogen can actually suppress this pathway so that they do not release they do not release these pro-inflammatory cytokines, and they won't become right. And so this is amazing. Like right, like hold on, I'm finding out how it's probably affecting my body and affecting others, and it's not just that hydrogen does this one time. The repeated bouts of hydrogen over time has what's called immunomodulation. Basically, it's modulating or altering or reprogramming how your immune
System response.
responds. And so because of this, today I don't have the same seasonal allergy I had 10 years ago. And that's
Right.
one of the things I just find absolutely remarkable about hydrogen. And it's seen not just in type 1, but type 2 and type 3 allergic reactions.
Nice. I mean, I think for anybody who's interested in molecular hydrogen, I would say start putting it in your body and see how your body responds. I mean, everyone's gonna respond so differently, but it is a really cool, remarkable molecule, and I've noticed changes in my health in the past year, and I drink molecular hydrogen water every single day. And
And if
feel great.
you need to.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you so much for educating us on the ins and the outs of molecular hydrogen, and please, everyone, go check out the educational channel, H2 Minutes on YouTube, and you can geek out and learn more about hydrogen, and of course, check the caption below the video as well, because I'm gonna link up all of Taiwan's stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for being here. I hope that you are enjoying the content on this channel. If you have not already done so, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every single time a new piece of content goes up. There is new content that goes up every single week. If you're not already a part of my online community, go to my website, sign up for my newsletter so that you are in the know. On my newsletter, I'll be sharing all kinds of promos and discounts as they come up. To work with me, check out my monthly membership, Elevate, which is really focused on addressing parasites and the root causes of chronic illness within the body. If you are interested in holistic health and well-being, you have definitely landed in the right place. Thanks so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.